Then someone shouted and pointed at G. His eyes were as white as two separate white lights of the purest bright white I'd ever experienced in my life. Even to this day, light beams shone from his eyes. Hello and welcome back to Talk About Strange. I'm going to get on to my next set of stories here. This is 3 stories from my weird life, laugh out loud. And this comes in from Sarah. She sent us some other stories and they're all good. So let's get on to this one. I don't have any updates other than whatever I put in the beginning of the other one. The channel's still growing. We're coming up on 20,000 subscribers. I'm amazed and blessed. I'm so happy and I appreciate all you guys. I hope you guys are taking advantage of those discounts at the store. Get on over there and check that out and see what you can find. I'm sure there's some cool swag you can find over there to support the channel. And maybe if you want to, even send us a picture of yourself wearing one of the shirts or something or what you got, and I'll post it on the channel. All right? So let's get right started into this, and then we'll get on with our day. All right. So, hello, Steve. It's me again, Sarah. And yes, you can call me Sarah. I have 3 stories. One is supernatural, one time slip, and a small ghost story. In 1988, I was a wee lass and had a boyfriend by the name of G. I would just use his initial. He had come from the land of Oz, along with his brother, Jay. They were both at college and had part-time work. Him and Jay didn't like talking about scary stories or ghost stories. I would gradually coax out why. During our time together, weird stuff started to happen. As soon as I met him, most sane people would have just said nope and left. Not me. Like he would be sitting in a chair at the same time, I'd watch a doppelganger walk out of the kitchen and disappear. Lots of freaky stuff. I can't write them all, but this one happened in public. We were at a town nightclub. It was banging and we were having a laugh as usual. I dragged G up onto the dance floor doing our thing. I suddenly noticed people stopped dancing and was backing away from us. Then someone shouted and pointed at G. His eyes were as white as two separate white lights of the purest bright white I'd ever experienced in my life. Even to this day, light beams shone from his eyes. He had no idea and still dancing. I just looked at him. I wasn't afraid. I knew I just had to get him out of there. I grabbed his arm and his hand and we ran out of the club. I was in high heels, mind you. That was a feat in itself. People were backing up away from us, even the bouncers. I call them doormen, or you call them doormen. No, we call them bouncers. He got mad at me for us leaving the club, and after a few blinks, his eyes went back to normal. I told him why we had to move. People were starting to gather, coming outside the club and eyeing us. I was afraid they were going to call the police. I told him why and dragged him out. Told him why I drug him out. He wanted me to leave him because he thought he was dangerous. I told him I wasn't afraid of that kind of stuff happening. G and J eventually went back to Oz. It was one of those young love stories that I finally look back on. I often hope he was able to move on and found happiness and found a way to exorcise the she-demon that plagued him. That's not my story to tell, it's his. In 2005, my family and I moved into a 200-year-old railway cottage. I loved it. We had a ghost. She would drive me nuts walking past the kitchen window, which always made me think someone was at the front door. I learned to ignore the Victorian lady with the high bun doing the door trick. Our house was next to a 200-year-old rail bridge, hence the name of the cottage. We had a large drive. The cottage itself was tiny with an extension for the kitchen and bath, otherwise basic 2 up, 2 down. It all started a couple of years after we moved in. I would wake up in the middle of the night and hear chatting. I thought someone left the TV on. I would trot off down the stairs and to turn it off. You would see that the TV halfway down the stairs was never on. One night I woke up to the chatting, automatically got up, took a few steps down the stairs, and thought, great, my partner left the log burner open and the TV was on and it was bright. A few steps down, I stopped dead. It wasn't my living room or our house. The stairs were dark wood, and slowly I sat down and made a sound on the step. To the side of the stairs and before me with a pot on a cast iron arm over the fire. There were two old people. He was sat in a high back wooden chair, and she sat in a similar wider chair. He was holding a pewter mug. She was combing wool. They were both old, had white hair and with a beard, a hat and a wide brim, black coat, white socks, high collar and cuff, and dirty, unwashed looking. I saw buckles on his shoes. The lady was dressed in brown and gray and a big white laced collar and a little white hat. The ground was earthy like stone, and the walls were like mud, like plaster and wood beams. The windows were what caught my attention the most, as it was daylight outside. It was long and thin and had a diamond-shaped knobby glass with lead around the edges of the diamond shape and had wooden frame. I sat there still and just listened and couldn't understand a great deal of what they were chatting about for some time. Was just sitting there feeling the stairs and the wall behind me with my hands. They were real and solid, and so was the smell too. You got a green face on here, so it's bad. I stood up. I might as well introduce myself. I heard a noise behind me, looking around, and suddenly everything went back dark, and I was in my house at night. I turned and went back to bed. The next morning, I was excited to tell everyone. My partner put me down as having a dream. I told him there used to be another house here, a big house with a large fireplace. About 11 years ago, he was building a garage at the end of the drive and came across a large stone fire pit. He decided he needed to find out more about the home and land. When he got home, he was shaken up. Apparently, 500 years ago, there was a big farmhouse on the land our cottage was built on. The family had been there for generations and owned the land, sold it to the railway company in the Victoria area. I smiled, giggled, and said, I told you. Last one. My partner and his work buddy were working on the downstairs loo, which I didn't know as they had just finished the kitchen. It was about home time, but I put the paint away and washed my brushes and headed to the loo. I heard, you can use this one. Go upstairs to the main bathroom. This house had a beautiful, almost black oak staircase that was obviously very old, very well looked after, wide and grand. I took the first 4 steps and turned to go up, and at the top stood a man in a tan coat, joppers, long sock, buckles on his shoes, white cuffs and collar. He took his hat off and shouted, and his long gray white hair was floating off everywhere around him. My house, my house. He was shouting at the top of his voice and then disappeared. I ran straight up the stairs into the bathroom. While I sat on the loo, I said, I know you're here, but I really need to pee. I washed my hands, shot down the stairs, ran into the kitchen and shouted, let's go now. There's a very angry man at the top of the stairs. He wants us gone. Let's go. They were like, yeah, right. Ha, ha, ha. So I did the only thing I could think of and made them move. I'll meet you in the pub then. That's all. It's my round. They moved. Thank you, Steve, for reading this out. I hope your move goes well, and sending love to you and your family and to all the TAS YouTube family. God bless. Sarah X. All right. Well, hey, thank you for sending them in to us, Sarah. They're cool stories. Yeah, I'd get out of that house too. So you just had to drink the guys out of the house. That's one way to get it done. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up with that one. They were 3 cute stories, and I hope you guys enjoyed them. Thank you for sending them in to us, Sarah. Till next time, I think we got some more coming in from Rhonda. Sent us a few, so I'll be sharing them, and I will see you again really soon.